Podcast for hunting and Halloween fanatics.
One ring.
That's a telephone. I'll answer it.
No, I must count them.
Yeah,
Two rings.
I have to answer the phone there.
No, I am counting the rings. Three rings.
Podcast Bone Phone.
Calling me on Hotcast toll-free number, it's the CFO, Chief Fright Officer of Disturbed Designs, JD Cormany. What's up, JD?
Hey, Chris, how's it going, man?
Things are good, man. I'm building, and when I'm building, I'm happy, and things are good. So, creating things, you know? I think you're in the same boat there. I think we kind of...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like to do the same kind of shit, except you'd probably do it a lot better than I do, though. That's okay. I get it. I'm working at it. So, where's home base? Are you in Maryland?
Yes, sir. I'm in Maryland, Westminster, Maryland, to be specific.
How did you end up cutting your teeth in the industry?
Well, like many others, I started out in the industry as a scare actor. My first gig, I'd say, was at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, back in 2016. And I've always been in love with the haunted houses, but that was my first, professional opportunity. And ever since then, I've just been obsessed with it.
What character, did you have a regular character that you would do? Or did you do a lot of different, what was your main kind of go-to character?
My first character that I ever played, that I got paid to play, was a skeleton in Catacombs at Hallow Scream. May it rest in pieces. That was a very fun haunt to go through. It was a very fun haunt to work in. I miss it very much, but things must progress and time must go on.
Yeah, things come and things go. The way things are, So you basically, you worked as a scare actor at several different haunts before you, or were you mainly at that one and kind of learned all of the other facets of it there, or did you learn it elsewhere?
So like I said, I started out scare acting, and then when I was younger, I had a particular interest in theatrics and stuff like that. So I was involved in a number of different theater productions growing up, and I've always had this obsession with entertainment, if you will. I'm also a musician, so that kind of gives you an idea of the live. I've played a number of live shows and stuff like that. So just all around an entertainment guy, and then I just kind of broke my way into the haunted house industry through Busch Gardens. I worked with them for a season, and it was cool. And then I just kind of started learning the production side of things on my own. I didn't go to school for theatrical production. I ended up going to school for computer-aided design and drafting when I got to college. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Oh, I'm sure that skill comes in handy. I've seen a couple of your posts on Instagram, and they were all of these CAD layouts of haunt designs and stuff like that. And I'm like, oddly enough, I took drafting in high school, and CAD was just becoming it just kind of was becoming a normal thing for drafters, not using pencils and doing things in a computer. That shows you how old I am. I'm an old bastard. But yeah, so I never learned CAD, and I kind of wish I did. And not that I can't now, I'm not too old, but I haven't dabbled in it yet. But how did you end up doing, getting into the set designs and prop building and all of that kind of stuff?
Honestly, I just pointed my nose in a particular direction, and I took a leaping dive in. Hoping that it would turn out well, and it did. I got my, cut my teeth, if you will, at Blood Lake Haunted Attraction in Midlothian, Virginia. And that was, the first time I ever put hands on materials and actually, was part of putting up a haunt set, if you will. And that was back in 2018. And so, yeah, that's kind of where that all started. And then, but yeah, whenever I get to, whenever a newbie asks me, it's like, how do I start? You just gotta fucking jump in and do it, man.
Did you contact them? Did you follow up? Was it an ad that you replied to? Like, how did you end up getting in the door at that location?
I got in the door initially as a scare actor, and then after expressing interest in the set design and building aspect of it, they kind of dragged me along and were like, okay, we'll show you some stuff.
Okay, so basically you came in as a scare actor and you were like, I want to learn some things. Why don't you show me a few things? And then they probably always need a body to help out with projects and stuff. And then were you always a scare actor while you were also getting involved with the design and other things, or did you kind of then just make a move out of that into the production end of things?
Yeah, I still do the scare acting to this day. I love it. I mean, it's, it brings back it always brings back a lot of good memories for me each time I do it. And like the stories that I have to tell of the reactions that I get from people, they're priceless memories and stories to me. So it's like, I can't imagine not doing that. Luckily, I'm at a place in my life where I can still do that, and the business isn't too big yet, honestly. But, I know eventually I'll get to a point where, or at least I imagine I'll get to a point where, I'll have to take over business things full time and not be able to scare act as much. But, I'm not at that point quite yet, so I'm enjoying it while I can.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, as long as if there's no reason that you can't, then why not just keep doing it? I mean, being able to play and not just do, you don't want to just be behind the scenes. Even me as a home haunter, for years, I always just, I would work on the display, and then in the background, I would like be hiding behind things, pushing buttons, but not out scaring. And then my buddy, who's a scare actor, goes, well, why don't you just get out there and start getting in people's faces? Why don't you get out there and get some scares? And then once I did, I'm like, oh my God, what was I was missing this all these years. What was I doing? Hiding behind curtains, I should have been out there. So now I have to get a little, I have to be at least on Halloween night, like I have to be doing something, But yeah, I've been I got to get off my ass and just get to, a haunt or two and just ask if I can do like just to get like a night just to come in, just to get my feet wet, just to try it out in a pro setting. I have not done it in a pro haunt. I would really like to do it. I wish the ones were closer, but I have to just take the ride and get up to like Fright Kingdom or somewhere and just go and do it. So anyway, when you started working, doing some set design, stuff like that in the production end, what was the first project that you ended up getting involved in? What did they get you started on?
In terms of the first ever project that I put my hands on was learning how to build wall panels, honestly. And it's such a simple thing, but I even today I'm surprised at the amount of folks that aren't familiar with that idea. And I'm like, if you can't build walls, you can't build a haunt, man. Like, you got to start somewhere. And then, and it's like learning the basic carpentry and stuff like that, how to measure, how to cut, how to secure things properly, how to screw, if you will, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that was like my first, and this is still the Blood Lake days. And, yeah, that was, and then, they got me into, I eventually started, they're like, here, throw this black paint up here. And I'm like, all right, sure. And they're like, all right, put this on the wall, put this on the wall, put this on the wall. Just, how to essentially put the haunt together as if it's a Lego set, one little piece at a time. Because that's really how it goes, is you just start with your base and then you go one piece at a time until you're done. I'm sure you're familiar with that, being the haunter that you are. It all starts from, you have your rough idea, and then you go from that to, all right, getting hands-on materials, and like, all right, this piece goes here, this piece goes here, this curtain goes here, what have you.
I probably did things backwards as I've learned things. I look at things and I go, you know what? Had I actually learned some woodworking skills before I started doing this other stuff, I probably would have been so much further ahead or picked things up so much faster, because just joining pieces of wood together, the different ways that you can join them, just cutting, even just making cuts properly, just like all those basics would have helped me out so much more. I kind of learned that, like, trying to build props and build shit, and then I ended up getting into going, oh, you know what, I need a new bookcase. I could probably build that myself, and just started like watching videos and learning how to do things, and just doing a couple of small projects. And it was like, things are so much clearer now. I understand things. Like now I have a better grasp of how to put things together. No, let me ask you, since you talked about wall panels, what's the best way to do wall panels? Because I've seen people do things different ways. How do you build wall panels?
Well, how I build a wall panel, I mean, I do it as simply as possible, because I'm not a carpenter by any means. So, like, I know what you mean about, like, the whole, so I know what you're getting at, but, like, my best way I find is you have your two vertical pieces, and then your bottom piece, your middle piece, your OSB or what have you that goes on the back side. Make sure it's all secured with enough screws, but obviously don't go overboard. You don't need 30 screws for one wall panel. I usually find that, like, oh, hell, I'm trying to think, like, 7 to 8 screws is about adequate for an average wall panel that I've done. I've seen some people use more, some people use more, some people use less, some people use more wood, they use less wood. Depending on what you're building and what your budget is, you can do the 2x2 method, or you can do the 4x4 method. It depends on, I mean, I most commonly go with the 4x4 method, just because with how I design haunted houses is I design for a 5-inch wall panel. And when I say that, I mean, you have your 4x4 stud, and then I account for half an inch of material on each side at least. That's like, and I say that because I noticed that in other designs, and with other designers, not going to name names because I'm not here to throw shade, but like, I've noticed like, if you design a haunt on graph paper and you just draw a line, you're not accounting for the amount of space that wall panel is taking up. And me, I want to be sure, and me, I'm such a stickler for things for measuring out right and for being in the exact right spot where I want them to be. I have to account for the amount of space that wall panel is taking up, not just the length of it, if that makes any sense.
I had just seen this recently, and I had never seen anybody do this, because I built a couple of wall panels for I don't have a walkthrough anymore, but I had done a mini walkthrough for a little bit, and I built wall panels out of 2x3s with, I think, like just that 1/4-inch Luan underlayment, on it. And that's how I built them. And I saw somebody recently, I caught a video of somebody using 1x3, like those 1x3 wood straps, to build the box frame, and then added, the same thing, like underlayment or Luan, whatever, on it. And I was like, oh, I'd never seen anybody do that with 1x3 wood strappings before. I always thought you needed to have at least like a 2x4 or a 2x3. So you say you use what size? What do you use to frame it?
Me personally, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with using the 2x2 or the 1x3 method. If that's what your budget is, then absolutely go for it. But one thing I keep in mind, and this is, like, having been a scare actor for so long, I've seen a lot of things that can go wrong. I haven't seen everything, and I'm not an expert, but, like, I've seen so many things that can go wrong, whether it be an actor running into a wall or a customer running into a wall, or guest, whatever term you want to use. And that always worries me, because, all it takes is one person or one body in the wrong spot on a wall, and there goes a portion of the haunt. And then there goes all that hard work and all of that. I mean, yeah, you can brace it, sure, but me personally, I go with the 2x4s, just because they are stronger. They make a stronger frame. Yes, they are heavier, but and also I brace them from the top as well. Let me make that clear too. I brace from the top. I try to brace them at the bottom if I can, even if that just looks like adding another strip to the back or another board lying flat behind it to with some struts going up to brace it from the back. That's if I can get away with it. That's not always possible. Then there's also the idea if you're doing it in your yard, running posts into the ground and bracing it from the bottom. It's just all those little things that are done that I do in the name of. It's at the end of the day, I want people to have a safe and a fun experience, and the last thing I want is a wall caving in on somebody. God forbid, a child. An adult, that's one thing, but a child, definitely not.
Yeah, of course, right? Or I mean, not no one is. It's not good no matter what. But you know what though? I can't. When I'm saying that I saw somebody using the 1x3 wood straps to build, that could have just been for a facade, building like panels for a facade. So I might, I that probably wasn't for a pro haunt setting, like in a maze type scenario, which is what we're talking about here, is in the maze, like you walking through the inside the haunt, not for a facade or something you just, that no one's going to touch, no one's going to bump, just for pure visual effect kind of a thing. So I'll have to go back and see if I can find that video. I just saw that and go, I would have never even thought about 1x3s. That seems very flimsy to me. Like, I don't think I would use that, but that was probably for a facade, not for actual a haunt, inside the haunt for, that scare actors and customers are going to be touching and bumping and whatnot. Because I'm sure you get, they're just like everything takes a beating inside the haunt, I'm sure. From people just banging, getting scared and bouncing off of it and everything else. Are you currently only doing freelance, or are you do you have like a home base haunt that you're working in regularly and you freelance, or are you all freelance now? Like, what's your scenario?
Right now I'm a freelancer. I've been in the process of trying to get this business off the ground again, because I took some time off for personal reasons, because sometimes one needs to take time off to get their life together, and that was my scenario. But freelancing right now. I don't have a home haunt that I belong to. I was, like, not too long ago, I worked with Hackney Haunts in Westminster, but they have since ceased operation, and it now flies under a new flag, and I'm not currently involved with that company. So, I'm also kind of in the process of considering moving the operation to another part of the country, just because sometimes one reaches a point in life where moving is necessary, and I think that that's kind of where I'm at. I'm thinking about taking the operation out to Ohio, where there's a very competitive and very dense haunt market, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I absolutely. It's so funny you're saying that, because I've been thinking about moving out to in that general vicinity for the last year or so. I'm actually checking out the Kentucky area, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? If I was there, there's like 7 states to surround it. You've got Ohio, you got Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Tennessee. You got a lot of stuff. It's so haunt rich out there. There's so much going on. Yeah, that seems like a smart move on paper anyway to me. It would make sense. You must have worked with quite a few pros in the industry. Was there anybody who taught you more than anyone else, like someone that you really was like a mentor to you, I guess?
I'll say that now. Granted, I've never worked like directly with the man, but I'm sure you've heard this from a lot of people, but Alan Hops has been a huge inspiration to me, and I've learned just so much from that guy. I encourage any new haunter to watch his stuff, listen to him talk, go see his work, go see what he's all about, because he's one of the godfathers of haunting, and there's a reason that he's earned that name over the years. Same thing with someone like Leonard Pickle, like the OG haunt designer. That's someone I got a lot of inspiration from. But to answer your question, someone I've worked with directly in recent years that I got a lot out of working with was Carlos Rivas, who currently owns Harris Nightmare in Westminster. And he's just one of the most creative individuals that I've seen in a long time. I know there's a ton of creative people in this industry, but the things that man is able to do with little to no budget are just absolutely insane. And then you give the man a budget, and it just blows your freaking mind what he can do. And I'm just like, wow. And it's like I learned a lot about foam carving from him, because he is like a foam carving prodigy. Like, you give that man a block of foam, and he'll give you just a beautiful sculpture. And he's around a lot of the trade shows and conventions now. He has been for a couple years, I think. But anyone that runs into him, he's definitely somebody to learn from, and I hope he starts giving seminars in the future. He's someone that I've come to have a lot of respect for. And he's a good example of someone that has earned their reputation. Because a lot of people talk a good game, but then they don't deliver. He's one of those people that can talk a good game, and he can deliver you not a great show, a fantastic show. May not be a perfect show, but a perfect show doesn't exist. So that, I'll just leave that one there. But yeah, that's kind of those are like my top three.
Have there been anything over the last couple of years or so that has been like that you've learned or picked up that has been like a game changer for you? Something that just like a technique or material or anything that's just been like helped you take your game to another level by just learning it?
I would say that honestly, and it's gonna be such a simple answer, but sometimes simplicity can change the game for you. Is like learning how to properly antique and distress walls, objects, costumes. That was like a really big thing for me, because I had my version of distressing and antiquing and aging and detailing, but then there's the right way to do it. And I guess there may not be an industry standard for such things, but in a way there kind of is. But that's also open to interpretation, and that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I would say just learning how to do things, quote, properly, learning how to use the tools in the right ways to get my desired results, whether that be, using some spray paint, then watering that down, and then using a little bit more spray paint, water it down again. Dry brushing is such a simple way to paint, and it's very effective. It's very cost effective because it takes almost no paint. But learning how to do that properly, learning how to age something, how to put rust on something. And these are all things that, I got to give Haunter's Toolbox a lot of credit too, because they have a lot of good information about that on their site. I wish they were a bit more popular, because I think that a lot of, that new haunters can learn a lot just from listening. And, the biggest thing with me is like, I'm a very hands-on kind of learner. So you could sit here and tell me how to do something all day long, and I'm just going to sit there and look at you, because then I'm going to be like, all right, give me the brush, give me the solution, whatever I'm using. I'm like, all right, let me figure this out.
Yeah, you got to get your hands dirty. A lot of people like sit around and they're like they just consume content, and they just watch videos and consume content and think that that's all of a sudden magically going to make you good. No, it teaches you some things. It gives you a starting point, but you got to get into doing it. You've got to get your hands dirty. You got to get paint on yourself. You got to get freaking great stuff foam in your hair. You got to get Gorilla Glue in your beard. You know, like you gotta burn your fingers with hot glue. There's no way around it. You gotta do it. It's the only way you get better at it. I was talking to somebody and they mentioned something about like, oh, my haunt got so good, and I was like, yeah, but look back at my haunt in 2012 and in 2011. That was like, it was really freaking bad back then. It took a long time for it to not. I joke around. I always go, it took a long time for it to not suck. You know, that was my goal was just for it to not suck anymore. That was my biggest goal. It wasn't to make it great. It was just for it to not suck. But yeah, you got to learn. Like you say, you start, you make mistakes, you realize, oh, that didn't work. Oh, I know why it didn't work, because I was supposed to do this and I didn't do that. I did this other thing, so of course it didn't give me the desired result. And then you try it the right way, and oh my God, it works. This is the way I was taught to do it. This is the way it works.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Getting out in the field and gaining that experience is where the magic happens, and that's where the growth occurs. And is it hard? Yeah. This is not an easy industry to make a living in, but it is possible. I never thought, people told me for years, they're like, there's no way in hell you're going to make money doing Halloween. They're like, it's only once a year, there's no way you can make money doing it. And I'm like, joke's on you. But so it is definitely possible, and for anyone that's listening, it's like that is questioning whether they want to pursue it, go for it. Take the dive, take that risk, because no risk, no reward. And so
hey, look at Alan Hops did it. Alan Hops did it. I talked to him, and did an interview with him years ago, and I remember him telling his story. He's like, I just decided to move out to Florida and just start working at a haunt. Oh, he had to take the plunge. He had to go for it, and now he's revered by everybody. So it ain't gonna happen without taking the first step and just getting out there and going for it.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that I like hearing from people who can make a living out of this. Who can actually, I know that you usually have to have your hands in a lot of different things, but at least you're doing something you love and really enjoy. You don't hate having to go to work. That's a huge thing. Give me some kind of, for the audience, for the listeners out there, any tips or techniques for, I don't know, whatever, prop building, set design. Just give us a couple of little pearls of wisdom.
Oh, let's see here. I'm trying to sort through all the mental files that I have, but I'd say if you're dry brushing something, less is more. And I'm not going to try to over-explain it because I don't want to lose anybody on it, but, just give it a try and you'll see exactly what I mean. It's one of those techniques it's one of those techniques where less is more. And that's all I'm really going to say about that. One thing that I have to tell myself on a regular basis is if you get that feeling in your gut and you're working on something and that feeling says stop. Because if you keep going, you're doing too much. And too much is not effective. Let's see, what else? Do not leave wood stain on a rag and leave it sit because it can catch fire. That's something that a local haunt that's local to me found out the hard way. Be careful with what you do. Safety is extremely important. We want to have fun, but we want to be safe while we're doing it. Ventilation. Ventilation is huge, especially if you're working in an indoor space. And I'm someone that loves to work outdoors. I like being outside, but I know some people don't share my love for being outdoors. So, use proper ventilation, use proper safety equipment. Oftentimes in haunting, we're using things in ways that they were not intended to be used. So just please be careful, and don't be the reason, don't be the one sitting in the ER missing a finger because you weren't being careful, because that's no fun. But yeah, anyway, back to the other stuff. It's like, if it sounds ridiculous, go for it anyway. Because we're not in the business of necessarily doing things that make sense, right? If you have this off-the-wall idea, take that idea and run with it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, okay, then you learn something. And failure is not the end. It's not the end. It's an opportunity for learning something.
As the immortal Bob Ross has stated numerous times, we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Absolutely.
If you know who Bob Ross is, that's that.
Definitely do.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was like, okay. I'm like, I don't know how you don't, but I'm on the older side, so I guess. A lot of times you start working on something and the thing takes a different direction, or you're like, oh, this is what I intended, but wow, that actually came out really good. You didn't mean to do something, and you're like, wow, I love the result of this. This is better than I expected. So yeah, those things definitely happen. Oh, by the way, it's funny that you mentioned the thing about the rag, about the stain on the rag catching fire, because I've watched so many woodworking different channels. I picked up this little technique where you just keep, like those old like salsa, like glass salsa jars or old pickle jars, and they put the rags in those and seal them up when they're done. So if they're not getting thrown away and they're going to get reused, they go in the glass jar and they get sealed up. Just a little something I came across, but
okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to file that away in the remember category.
Now, I'm not liable if anything goes wrong with that. I'm just something I came across. That's all I'm saying, because I do that with my my Danish stain rags.
It makes sense though, because a fire starts with you need flame, fuel, and oxygen. And if you're missing one of those ingredients, you don't have a fire. So it makes sense to me.
Keep those pickle jars. Don't throw them away. So what are you currently working on?
Yeah, I'd say right now I'm in the season of preparation, if you will. And what I mean by that is I'm getting because like I said, I'm trying to relaunch my business, and I'm in the season of preparation. And what that looks like is building a diverse portfolio of work that I've done, not only of like set design, but also of, haunt floor plans and stuff like that. Because as you've seen, that's something that I do. And I don't see a whole lot of other folks doing it. So I'm like, well, there's a market for it. There's got to be someone out there that is going to be interested in it. So, yeah, right now I'm working on a lot of different walkthroughs and making them as detailed as possible, making them drawing plans that would be realistic, not way over the top and like just ridiculous, because square footage does come with a cost. And so yeah, and also I'm in the process of getting licensed and all that fun jazz. Because I'll be honest with you, I ran my business for the first couple of years kind of under the table, and that's not really the way to go about it. And so, in the process of getting a business license and getting, all the boring office crap that you got to do when you become a business person, And also just learning as much as I can. I believe in being a sponge and never sitting here saying, okay, I know everything, because that would be preposterous. What else? Yeah, I would say just preparation is the name of the name of my game right now. You'll start seeing me at different haunt conventions and trade shows in the near future. Myself and the co-owner of the company are working on that. We're contemplating, or at least I'm contemplating, bringing on a third individual that will handle the marketing and advertising bit, because that is something I know nothing about. But so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the whole thing.
Cool. Give your co-owner a little scream out.
Oh, okay. So the co-owner of the company is Ray Larson. He's got a very significant background in, how do I describe it? Tinkering, if you will. He's a very technically savvy individual, and he's someone that from the jump, he has funded a lot of my business endeavors, whether it be getting company apparel made, or signage, or purchasing a trademark on the company name, that kind of thing. So Ray has been extremely, extremely beneficial, and it was actually very recently that I had the discussion with him where I was like, look, I want to make you not just business partner, but co-owner of the company, because the man earned it. I've had a few business partners over the years that all they were was talk and no action, and I'm someone that, pardon the terminology, but money talks and bullshit walks. So, for someone to have stepped up and been like, hey, I believe in your business, I believe in what you're doing, here, let me throw some money at this, let me throw some money at that, and at the end of the day, he's been my right-hand man through a lot of things. I'm someone that's had, about 2 years ago, I had a pretty rough go in life, and, but I got out of it, thankfully. But that person, he was right there with me the entire time. So, not only is he co-owner of my company, he's also my best friend. And, I consider myself very lucky to have that kind of individual in my life. And I know not everyone can claim that. So, yeah, I think that's a good little blurb about him.
Where can people, where can I see more of your work? Do you have it posted online, or where can I see more examples of your handiwork?
Let's see. I know I sent you the link to my GoDaddy site, and that's more of a landing page than anything.
Yeah.
You can search Disturbed Design on Instagram. You can also search it on Facebook as well. I'm also in the process of getting a proper website built, but still a work in progress on that. Mm-hmm. But it will happen. It will happen within the next few months for sure. All right. And that will have everything that I've ever done.
Cool. So I look forward to that. Make sure you hit me up when that's all live, when your new site's up and running, so I can share it.
Yeah, definitely will.
All right. So people can hit you up. What's the best way for them to hit you up if they're looking to hire you and bring you in to do the voodoo that you do so well?
I would say to hit me up directly through, I can be contacted directly through Facebook. I'm always on there. I have, Messenger is like my best friend. So they can hit me up directly through there. I'm always happy to talk shop and see if we can't make some magic happen. Now that things are rolling in a good direction for me, I'll be able to be a bit more mobile. In terms of what's on the chopping block for this year, I'm going to be, this is just a fun thing. It's not really a project, but I'm going to be guest acting at Fear Haunted House down in Lumberton, North Carolina. So if any, whoever's listening, if you're in that area, definitely come by. They're a newer operation, but, we got to show some love to the new guys and the old guys. So I would say that. And I got to represent my hometown as well, of Westminster. We have Harrah's Nightmare here, which is a fantastic show. It may be in a mall, but don't turn your nose up to it. We're not too far from Kim's Crypt. We're not far from the Nevermore Haunt. What else? Yeah, we're not far from Bennett's Curse either. All three of those fantastic shows. But yeah, that is me.
All right, JD, keep me up to date on your happenings, and we'll have you back on down the road as you're working on other projects, especially if you have something really juicy you want to share. Anything else you want to plug about your business or anything else?
Yeah, I'll just say that, one thing I pride myself on is doing this kind of work, but, I think I pride myself on the fact that I don't charge an arm and a leg for it. I believe in making money, obviously, and I have to, this is a business, but I mainly do this for the love of what I do. And so maybe that will inspire some folks to reach out and be like, hey, let me give this guy a shot. If anyone wants to, see my portfolio in full, I can always make that happen. It takes me a little while to compile everything. Like I said, always reachable through Facebook, constantly on there posting random haunt stuff, and, I'm always flying around Instagram from time to time. So yeah, I'm definitely reachable. I'm not a ghost for sure.
All right, we'll have links for Instagram, Facebook, and Disturb all down in the description, right down there in the show notes, so you can click on those and go stalk JD.
Awesome.
Thanks, JD, man. We'll catch you around the net.
All right. See you on the other side of the corpse locker.
Please like, subscribe, comment, give us a 5-star review, share with friends, and buy us a beer if you see us out in the wild. Follow us on Instagram at huntcast.podcast for show updates, as well as more pictures and video content. Also, like and follow our Huntcast Facebook page. Listen to the entire back catalog of our audio podcasts, available on all podcast platforms, with over 550 segments now available. Until next time, stay scary.